Hello everyone, and welcome to the first map of the Western Isles arc. This is a pretty fun part of the game, right Danny?
Yeah, I like it. So it's definitely a less difficult portion of the game than the first 7 chapters.
It's a nice break for sure.
It is. I will say this though, right? I think that chapter 9 being like a breather chapter kind of gives the Western Isles a bit of an easier reputation than they necessarily are or earn or whatever you would say, because so there's the route split, right? But there are like common themes to the route split chapters. One of them is a chapter with a ballista keeping everyone in check, and one of them is a chapter with a bunch of houses and also Tate and Klein show up, right?
Yes.
And if you go the barter route, you get ballista map first, and then you get, or no, if you go the barter route, you get house map first,
town,
and then you get ballista. And then if you go a Echidna route, you get ballista map first, and then you get the house. I think whichever version of the house map you go to is actually a pretty difficult map. Not necessarily because the enemy quality is super high. Like, they're no pushovers, right? But
yeah,
it's not like the chapter 1 through 5 glitched hard mode enemies or the chapter 7 wyverns or stuff, right? Like,
and you have tools to deal with them too.
You have tools to deal with them too, because you get like pre-promotes and stuff, right? Especially if you go barter route, especially if you go Echidna route, you have a dancer available for that map, and you get Echidna on the map. But I do think that there's just a ton of side objectives in the town. Like, you want to visit every single house so that you can get the hero crest, and bandits spawn not like so quickly that it's impossible to deal with, but quickly enough that like you can't dwaddle.
You're pushed. You have to
pushed.
keep moving.
And you can drop people over the wall with Shanna, but like that ends up being dangerous because they take a lot of people. If you're doing the Echidna version, then Echidna's recruitment is also like scary. She shows up.
Oh, that's really sketch. The recruitment.
So she shows up and could die to red units as a green unit on her join turn. But even if she doesn't, she needs to be recruited by Larum, who's a frail-ass unit. So that can be challenging because you can't really put Larum in range of Echidna when she spawns, because then Larum will get killed by the Axe Brigands, unless you, like, wall Larum off. But you can't dance Larum to give her extra range because she's the dancer. And then obviously Klein and Igrin are their own form of difficulty, and you want to keep their squad alive because their squads give you promotion items. So there's just a lot going on.
I really like it for it though.
Like, I really like it. And then
it's a really busy map, and I love it.
If you go barter route, then instead of the Echidna recruitment, there's the Gonzalez recruitment. Gonzalez shows up to trade houses, and you recruit him on that map.
And he's all the way in the top left part of the map or something?
Yeah. It's basically, it's not quite, but it's basically the same map structure, but your starting position is altered, and the space where reinforcements show up is altered, and then, like, it's slightly different map. Like, they don't use the same map for it, but the layout is very similar, and the goals are, like, the side objectives are all very similar, with the exception of Gonzo versus Echidna.
It's also like the map got rotated 90 degrees or something, so it's a more vertical map, whereas the Echidna one's more of a horizontal map.
Yes, yeah. So when I say it's the same map, like, it is not the same map, but it is structurally, even though it's a different chapter, like, it's structurally the same point in the story, the same...
It's the same concept of a map.
Yeah, it's the same broad concept of a map, exactly. It's in the same way that Chapter 8 of Binding Blade is the same map of Chapter 5 of Three Houses. If that makes any sense. Like, they are not the same map, but they are the same map archetype, in quotes. And please don't fucking start making lists of map archetypes. Now. I will be very upset. 1% crit win. 1% crit win.
I might actually go for this. It's really I can always mend him up if I need to.
I guess my broad point is that Chapter 9 is definitely a breather chapter, but I think that the other chapters in the Western Isles while easier than chapters 1 through 7, I wouldn't describe them as breather chapters. In particular, the town map, but like I also think both versions of the Ballista map can be tricky. The Echidna route version of the Ballista map is easier IMO because you the Ballista's on the far left, so like you have a lot of space to work with. But in the Barter route, the Ballista's in the center, and you kind of want to split your forces to get Geese and Barter pretty quickly.
Yeah, and the Ballista being in the very center is just super annoying because it kind of cuts off your flyer from going anywhere, unless you just kind of fly them in.
Speaking of Barter and the Barter map and the route split, I like Barter because he's the warrior. Do you like warriors?
I kind of like warriors. I mean, I'm a huge Lot.
Then you should give the hero crest to Lot. Give him what he fucking deserves. It's his birthright.
You have no idea how badly I want to, though. It would be so funny. Like, look at this. He's doubling this guy.
And you know what else is cool about Lot, and also warriors and also Barter route? You can visit Lot's home.
Oh, that's true. You get some good loot if you deploy like Wade and Lot in those maps.
So for the viewers who are not privy to our off-camera conversations, I have been desperately trying to convince Jacob to go Barter route because I really like Barter. I think he's cool. And I think that people don't go Barter route enough because like the argument is like, oh, Echidna's so much better than Barter, and like she's probably a little bit better than him. I think they're a lot closer than you think. I think the real thing is the killer bow. Like you get a killer bow if you go to the village that sends you Echidna route, but you get like a restore staff or some shit for Barter, right?
One of them's also a girl and one of them's not.
Okay, but like one of them has a dad mustache.
Okay,
and
that
I
is
think that's
really
cooler than being a girl.
Man, I really don't have a way to deal with this guy. We're just gonna wait.
That's a little bit unfortunate. Wait, doesn't he fucking kill Noah now?
Oh, I mended him up.
He dealt 13 times 2. He brought Noah to 1 HP from full, right?
Oh no, he wasn't at full. He was at like 15 HP. He did 7 twice. And that was without weapon triangle bonuses, so he'll do 6 twice to him now.
Okay, I got confused.
Understandable though.
Look, I got blindsided by thinking about Dreamy Warrior Lot and Dreamy Warrior Barter just like doing the Tasmanian Devil Whirlwind. Just doing the crits, doing the Tasmanian Whirlwind crits at each other.
Those are pretty cool crits. I do like those a lot.
Are we Longbow Sue Gaming?
Sure.
Okay, so if you're not going to do the morally correct thing, do we have an idea of who the first hero crest is going to? Because, like, I noticed that Rutger is fielded.
Yes.
I know level 10 Gonzo, if you go the correct route, is an option, too.
Yeah, this is actually kind of problematic.
I mean, what's really problematic is your undue silencing of Lot. I think it's a little bit problematic, and we should cancel you on Twitter for your injustice against Lot. Would you say that you think Lot does not deserve human rights?
That hit me like a freight train.
Answer the question, Jacob. Don't dodge.
I think Lot deserves all the rights.
Including the right to the hero crest? Including the right to the hero crest?
Including the right to a hero crest.
Or are we giving number 2 to him?
Quite possibly. I've very much considered it.
What level does Keith start at, actually? The unit I never fucking think of.
Oh,
Is he 10 in both routes?
He's either 10 or 9 or something like that. I just
remember
remember he's nothing spectacular.
Sure, but like, yeah, he's 10. So if you go the wrong route and you just want a berserker in your pocket, you can just seal him up, I guess.
That is an
like
option.
he doesn't get hard mode bonuses, so like he's not as good as Gonzo. Let me check. Because he's got like really balanced stats, which tends to be a bad thing.
I think I just remember his strength is 10 and nothing's higher than that.
Yeah, he has 10 strength, 9 speed, 8 defense. So, like, his offensive and defensive stats are all pretty balanced. But, like, I don't think balance is a good thing.
No. This is...
Gonzo has 16 attack and 11 speed, and then 7 defense. So, yeah, I'd say, like, balanced. He has, like, 1 more point of defense. It's just, like, I think the skill is probably better. What's Geese's skill?
I know Gonzo
9
gets...
skill, which is pretty good. Oh, no, he only has 2 more skill than Gonzo, which is pretty bad, actually.
And Gonzo gets plus 4 or 5 skill on promo, whereas Geese only gets
So
3,
Gonzo gets 5 skill on promo, Geese gets 4.
Okay, so that's like...
So if they both instant promote, it's a 1 skill difference in Geese's favor.
So 4 whole hit.
Yeah, I mean, like, so I think this is a game where your skill stat matters, though. Like, hit rates and doubling are not guaranteed. I think in a lot of games, like, strength is often one of the more important offensive benchmarks. Like, think FE7, right? You're doubling, everyone is doubling anyway. Unless you're, like, Oswin, but even Oswin doubles some people. Like, it's...
Especially early on.
I mean, look, I'm currently, doing a 0% growth playthrough, and promoted Oswin is doubling quite a few people.
That's so crazy how slow FE7 enemies are.
Yeah, so, like, in FE7, I think a speed lead means fucking nothing. But, like, in FE6, doubling is not only not guaranteed, but it's, like, actually pretty hard to do.
Yes.
It's like, in, for example, in, in Radiant Dawn, doubling's not guaranteed, but, like, faster units can probably do it. But, like, in FE6, I feel like not all decently fast units can double. Like, some are just like, I'm fast enough to not get doubled, right?
Yes. I would say, like, a lot of the Cavs fall into that category of, I don't get doubled, but I double slower enemies.
Yeah, I think Lance can probably double most... Lance can probably double most enemy classes, like medium speed enemies. And then Elen struggles too.
Also, gosh, these mercenaries are terrifying.
Yeah, breather chapter moment.
The Axe enemies are the easy ones. These mercenaries are kind of terrifying.
Well, thankfully, there's no mercenary reinforcements. All of the reinforcements are pirates, and they're pretty easy to deal with. Like, it is kind of the, if you want to train up a sword unit, this is kind of the place to do it. Obviously, Fear is the one that comes to mind because she's, like, literally a free deploy. I mean, not a free deploy, she's recruited on this map. So, like, I guess that is a free deploy, yeah.
I know there's a halberd up here somewhere. I think there's a halberd guy right here.
But he's not going to reach, right?
No, I just need to remember that he exists. Oh my gosh.
This guy's got a hand axe.
Yeah. I really want a little bit of chip damage, so I don't have to rely on 2 of these to hit.
Killer X? Does he double with the Killer X?
I think he does, yeah.
Yeah, so you're increasing your odds. Oh no, you only need 1.
Yeah, I only
need 1. The Killer X, you only need 1. You don't even need to crit.
I was really hoping to keep more uses of it.
How many do you have?
It's like 9 or 6 uses.
Wow. I mean, they're real good, and you can also you can buy them after the Western.
Oh right, you can buy them at some point.
So like, use them, right? Like you can buy them in the Twin Bridges map.
We'll go ahead and do it.
And you get the Brave Axe, which like the Brave Axe doesn't have a ton of hit. The Brave Axe doesn't have like the hit bonus that Killer does, but it does have. Well, it might. But I think the fact that it doubles like effectively increases his hit rate because you're like in situations like that where you're like, well, I need to hit 1.
It has kind of an innate hit bonus because you're swinging twice.
So yeah, it has 55 hit as compared to Killer Axe has... So it's got 10 less hit in exchange for your swinging twice. So like in some circumstances, it's probably statistically better to use Killer. But like... I mean, that right there is probably a circumstance where it's actually better to use Killer because it's a 42. And so, like, hitting 1 out of 2 32s is probably... Well, actually, no. The 10% difference... Yeah, I think it's actually... I think it's usually better, like, if you just need to land one hit to use the Brave Axe.
It also comes down to the Brave Axe is really heavy, so if you are doubling with the Killer Axe and you're not doubling with the Brave Axe, you're just hoping that your hit goes first.
Oh, true.
It allows you to hopefully skip getting a counter.
Yeah, although I was assuming, like, in instances where you're not doubling anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, well, for example, the Mercs are... You mentioned the Mercs are the scary enemies here, right? You're not doubling Mercs with your fighters.
No.
Like, you're probably not doubling them with warriors either.
Hi, Fear. It's you. No, I know Shin is somewhere up here.
They spawn diagonal from each other.
Yes, so he's
so he should
close.
he should be coming up. And I'm pretty sure he will one-round the shit out of her.
Oh, definitely.
So...
he doesn't double her.
I mean, he hits hard, though, right?
He has 9 strength at base. I just looked him up. He has, like, 9 or 10 strength at base. So I don't know if he one-shots her.
Yeah, I guess I just think of him as better than he actually is at base. Yeah, no, he's yeah. You are correct.
Astor, give me some eyes. Oh, he's all the way over
there
here.
He is.
Hi. Okay, so I still have a turn to deal with stuff.
Use the short bow, which has a tiny bit of crit on it.
Yeah.
Are you gonna trade Fear not the Wudao? Maybe?
Maybe? I actually don't mind using a lot of Wudao on this map, just to train her up. Kind of use it as, like, a trainee weapon, almost.
Sure, yeah. No, that makes sense. I just thought, since you do have a Cav who hasn't moved, you can probably give her a sword.
Yeah. I think I want to go ahead and do this.
So that Sue is right there to be able to get Shin.
Forgot to turn animations on.
Oh, and it was a crit, too! Jacob, how could you?
I'm sorry,
viewers. You missed the female Myrmidon crit. First, you say that you think that Lot does not deserve human rights. You said that Lot does not deserve the basic human right of a hero crest. You don't think he's a fucking hero, do you? You don't think he's a hero. You think he's a little baby, not a hero. Crit?
Dang.
Yeah, Walt didn't want to crit because he knew that you would turn animations off if he crit.
Come on, Trek.
God, he's weighed down by the Gans Lance?
Yeah, it weighs... Oh, he's losing 1 speed from it. It weighs 10, I think. He's losing
that's
1
so
speed
tragic.
from it. Oh, well, let's do this.
Do you think Con is, like, the most overlooked important stat? Or, not important stat. Do you think Con is the stat that's, like, most overlooked for its importance?
I think it's a stat that's emphasized for the wrong reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it can be cool to have someone who doesn't lose weight from a specific weapon type, or loses less weight, but I think a lot of people look at build as, you're getting weighed down, bad unit. It's like, no, he still has 12 AS with this weapon. Like, he's not a bad unit just because he's getting weighed down.
It is true. I do think that, it's always better to have high speed and low con than the other way around, but I do think having, like, incredibly low con is a downside to units that we often don't talk about.
Guy is always going to be my go-to example, because Guy has 5 builds. He loses speed from, I think... Oh, does he lose it from... I think he loses it from Iron Swords. No, he just barely escapes it from Iron Swords.
There's a lot of FE7 units that have really abysmal con for their weapon type. Like, Isadora gets weighed down by Iron Lances. Heath gets weighed down by, I think, most Lances, maybe even Irons. I don't think it's Irons. I think he barely escapes Irons.
That sounds right.
There's at least one Axe User that's weighed down by Iron Axes, but it's escaping me which one.
Ross loses speed from Iron Axes before promo. And if you make him like a hero, he has 10 con, so he still loses speed from hand axes. You have to make him a berserker if you want him to berserker or warrior if you want him to escape losing speed from hand axes. Which,
like, isn't the end of the world if you have the speed to make up for it. But that's the big if, and I think that, like, I don't know, it can often lead to units being, like, looking better than they are.
Yeah, that's why I'd say it's a stat that's often looked at for, like, people treat it as a be-all, end-all, instead of treating it as a point in or against a unit's favor, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. Oh, that's the example I was trying to think of. At the risk of inviting engaged discourse. Lapis versus Diamant, and how, like, they're statistically basically the same unit. And it's like, oh, well, Lapis actually has, like, a pretty significant speed advantage over him. Well, Diamant has a pretty significant con advantage over her, and it cancels out unless you're using wimpy weapons, in which case you're not really doing anything. Give her the Durandal.
I mean, I could give it to her, she won't use it, but... Okay, Astor is going to be here, so I guess I'll send Fear down here.
So you can steal all the pirates, yeah? Are we doing the Great Antitoxin Heist? The Danny Doyle copyrighted strategy of the Great Antitoxin Heist?
There is going to be antitoxins stolen.
I fucking love stealing the, like, bajillions of antitoxins. It's also just, like, a great way to train a bow unit, or a unit with an accurate
I do plan on doing
a bow unit, like, only a bow unit.
I want to try to get you super high leveled, or at least up to level 10, potentially. I don't have an Orion's Bolt, but just to get him leveled up and get him snowballing.
It is kind of weird how Orion's Bolt is, like, one of the rarer promotion items in this game.
Yeah, of all promo items.
You don't get an Orion's Bolt until you get your first sniper.
All right, I forgot about that.
I mean, you get it from him. For saving his boys.
Oh, you get 2 in that map, right? Isn't there a house that gives you one,
you get one in the village, too. I believe you get one in the village and one from him. So it's weird in terms of, like, being sort of min-maxed, right? Like, and then you just give them to the 2 nomads, which is the unfortunate thing for Walt and Dorothy.
That very much reminds me of FE7, where you don't get the Ocean Seal until after you recruit Hawkeye.
Yeah, it's a very similar problem, yeah. It's, like, and I do still think Walt and Dorothy have their uses. Like, everyone's gonna talk about shooting down the wyverns in Chapter 7. I actually think they're not great at that.
No.
Because, like,
there you guys
wyverns are incredibly tough, even with effective damage. They're not dealing a bunch because they're incredibly weak. Walt, in particular, does, a lot of accurate chip in the first 4 chapters to help set up kills for people who are not Marcus. Or for Marcus, sometimes. Like, Marcus isn't one-rounded. So you can legitimately have Walt set up kills for Marcus if you're trying to get the speed level up, which, like, is not a bad... It's not a bad place to be, honestly.
Yeah, that is something you could do.
Or you can have him set up kills for Paladin number 2.
Like, whoever's going to be your other Paladin.
Yeah. Or, like, I mean, I say this as if we're, like, intentionally training these people, but the enemies need killing, and, like, Marcus can't kill everyone that needs to die on player phase. It's just not a reality that exists. And same with Deike. Like, Deike is good, Marcus is good for those first few maps. I said that, and it made it sound like I think Deike is good long-term and Marcus is good short-term. I think not. I think the opposite. But I meant the 2 of them in those first few maps are, like, quite good. But, like, they can't do everything
15 plus 9, 24.
They need to do and done. They can do most of it, but, like, sometimes they need help from Walt. Or sometimes Walt helps the other shitty units, like, get a kill together.
Why is there an Elfire guy over here?
Elfire mages are so scary, but you should steal his vulnerary.
I really would love to. I would also love to enemy phase these 2 archers, but all 3 of these combine to kill Shin, and that makes me very sad.
Do you have Pure Water?
I don't. I actually just checked.
You have the barrier staff, but no staffer up there.
I do have barrier. Do I even? I have it on her.
Yeah.
No, but I can't.
Well, but she can't make it, is what I meant.
Yeah, she can't reach. Oh well, we'll just deal with them next turn, I guess.
I always feel so sad when I don't have a dancer in the early game.
Me too.
And it's like, it's weird because you usually don't have a dancer in the early game. Like, FE6 is one of the earliest joined dancers in the series. Like, Azura obviously is the earliest, but like, it's like FE6 and Awakening are like some of the earliest aside from that. Lin Mode Nils, I guess? Like, does that count?
I mean, you don't get the dancer back until New Resolve, which is effectively chapter...
It's effectively the halfway... It's like almost the halfway
11?
point of the game, I think.
I guess that would be chapter 11, kind of, because that would be chapter 21, so minus 10.
Yeah.
So I guess you're getting Ninian in chapter 11.
Well, so here's the weird thing about Ninian and Nils' availability. It's pretty shit. Like, it doesn't feel like it. It feels like they're around for a while, right? You get Ninian in chapter 21. So she's available 21, 22, 22X, 23, 24, 25. And then doesn't she get stabbed to death in 26?
It might be 26. I can't remember which number it is exactly.
No, she's available for 26. 26 is Battle Before Dawn. So then she's available for 26X. And then she dies in 27. Can she be deployed in 27? I think she can, right?
She can in 27. Wait, she can be deployed in the Armad's Cave too, right? Because she died.
Nils can be deployed in Armad's Cave.
Because I thought it was after Armad's Cave, was whenever all that went down.
She gets stabbed at the end of Armad's Cave.
Oh no, that's right.
She kidnapped or some shit at some point?
That's right.
Like, she's missing.
That's right. I forgot she gets taken away.
Yeah, so she's missing in 27. So
yes.
She's available from 20 to 26. So that's 6 chapters, 2 guidance. Assuming we're doing the 2 guidance, which are kind of horrible.
Yes.
But, you know, so that's 8 chapters. If we count the 2 guidance. Then she's missing for 27. Nils is available for 28, so that's 9 chapters. Missing for 29 and 29X. Available for 30 and final. So that's 11 chapters in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27 chapter-long campaign. They're only available for 11 of those chapters.
That does sound pretty pathetic.
And that's like... Well, so you say that... I feel like that's pretty standard for dancers, though. Like, think Raisin. Raisin joins in chapter 18 of Path of Radiance. Like, he's just not... They feel like they're around for longer because they join kind of earlier, but, like, then they miss some chapters in the mid to late game.
That is true.
And also, realistically, Ninian and Nils are only available for 10 chapters if we're counting realistic deployments. Because Hector and a friend, are you really deploying the dancer as the friend? Like, I think that's the other thing about availability, is it's all well and good to talk about availability, but I think availability should only ever be used as a penalty, not as a bonus for units who are not getting realistically deployed. Like, the biggest example is Ileana, technically speaking, has the largest availability of the entire cast of Radiant Dawn. Ileana, realistically speaking, is available from chapter 1-4 until chapter 1-E, and then, or no, 1-3 until chapter 1-E. She misses the Black Knight fight. But then she also becomes available in 3-2, and then she leaves in 3-3 because suddenly deployment slots are contested over and there's no fucking reason to deploy her. Also in 3-2, she's not doing anything. So, like, I don't know. I think giving units availability credit for maps where they are
not doing anything
realistically is not... That's why I tend to think of availability as closer to a penalty than a bonus, right?
Oh, that's fair.
Like, I do definitely think that, like, you can use it, you can look at it as a bonus as long as you're not giving them credit for, like, being deployed in a map where they're not realistically getting deployed. Like, you could try to say, like, oh, Lafir gets a free deploy slot on a map that's easy to train her. So, like, compare to Ogier, right? Ogier is fighting for a deployment slot on the training map, whereas Fear gets it for free, so she kind of has that as, like, an availability lead. Also, what happened to dealing with the archers next turn? We're, like, really backing off.
We're gonna enemy phase the Elfire guy. Because this archer's not moving,
gotcha.
just this one is. So we're gonna enemy phase
Elfire.
Yeah. Then we'll blitz him to finish him, and then we'll like kill the archer or something, I don't know.